Hey everyone, Mike here, Analog Attack. I'm on my way to Disc Union in Osaka for some vinyl hunting. Come and join me. Here we go, we're almost at our destination. This is the classical Disc Union store. I'm not going in here. Just gonna go around the corner, go to the main shop. Here we go, Disc Union, Osaka. There's the entrance. All right, I'm going in. My mission is simple today. I'm gonna go straight to the used bins and I'm gonna be looking at the used punk and hardcore, 77 punk, and used Japanese hardcore. They're all in like 3 little sections in the same area. I'm gonna get in. I've got about 20,000 yen in my pocket. I'm feeling confident. So let's go in and have a little look and see what is in store at Disc Union, Osaka. There we go, that's the new Japanese punk, new punk and hardcore. This is the used stuff. This is what I'm here for. 70s punk, punk and hardcore, and then all the Japanese punk here. So I'm gonna go and have a quick rifle through all of these, and hopefully I'll come away. There we go, that was quick, wasn't it? Success. I got a bag, actually 2 bags. I got another one in my rucksack. And I'm pretty pleased with what I found today. I know you kind of maybe wanted to have a look at what I was rifling through, but it's a bit tricky. There's a lot of customers in there and they're playing music that, you know, might get the copyright strike. So let's get back home and let's see some of the delights that I picked up today from Disc Union, Osaka. Bonus content. I just remembered I've got a new heavy metal record that I ordered from Tower Records, Tower Vinyl in Umeda. So I'm going to go in and pick it up and let's see where it is. I'm really excited to pick this one up actually. Right, see in a bit. I'm going to transform into Bilbo and Baggins now and unbag this bag. I've just got this record. It's a new Savage Master record. Dark and dangerous. I can't wait to play this. Love Savage Master. But anyway, let's get back home. We've got some serious business to get done. Let's check out some great records on the old computer at home. See you in a bit. All right, we're back in the comfort of the Analog Attack studios. We've escaped the maddening crowds of downtown Osaka, and I'm going to have a nice cold beer. And we're going to check out what records I just got at Disc Union. Pretty pleased with what I've got, actually. Nothing super rare or anything like that. Some things I've been after, some things that I've owned before, some things that are completely new to me. I haven't looked any of this up on Discog, so we're going straight in. I think it'll be fun. I've got about 20 records maybe. Punk, hardcore, gothic. Yeah, that's about it. Maybe a bit of new wave. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's have a good time looking at some great records. This is a band from Seattle that I just could not get into. Back in the day, like late 80s, early 90s, and I figured it was about time that I gave this band a second chance or a third chance, and I think this is a good place to start. Talking about the Fastbacks, this seems to be like their first demo tape, first time ever on vinyl. Fastbacks, 1985, okay, like pre-grunge Seattle band, like kind of Ramones influence, kind of garage punk. I mean, classic band. I don't really know why I wasn't into them so much back then, but I'm really looking forward to digging into this Fastbacks record and this one, Fastbacks Z2, which looks like it's stuff that was recorded around the time that they were doing the Zucker LP. And from what I can remember, the Zucker LP is like one of their most sort of beloved records. So this has got to be good, right? Any Fastbacks fans watching? Where should I sort of proceed from here as a beginner? Go in order, the discography, or is there a real like a classic that I should sort of get to first? I mean, I know that Zucker, I've heard that Zucker is a really good one, but let me know in the comments where I should proceed with the Fastbacks. Really looking forward to checking out both these records. A couple of weeks ago, on the old podcast, what you're listening to, check it out. It's under podcasts or live. a guest was talking about the French band Telephone. Now, I've been aware of Telephone for years. I know people who are fans of Telephone. I've got French friends who are into Telephone. But honestly, I think I might have owned like the 6 LP like a long time ago and wasn't really too into it. But the way my guest was sort of talking about Telephone and all the other guests were talking about Telephone, made me really sort of excited to check them out. And I've heard a song here, here and there on YouTube and stuff since then. I couldn't believe it just now in Disc Union. The first 3 Telephone records were just right there, right in the used 77 punk section, which I showed you, right? And so here we go. The first LP, Telephone, self-titled. This looks like a French original. Like I said, I've only heard a few tracks here and there, but what I've heard is it's amazing. Just like this kind of mix of punk and rock and roll, maybe like a bit of like a 70s Rolling Stones feel to it. But every song I've heard has been absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to sort of dig into these Telephone records. So I got first LP. I got a Japanese promo of the second LP, which does every sort of pressing have this? It's got the cheeky jacket. Yeah, they're wearing clothes. Now they're not wearing clothes. Kind of fun. Missing the OB, but it's a white label promo copy, which is pretty cool. And then the third LP, which has got a punch hole through the center. I love the sort of stark black and white jacket on this, but I'm tempted to go a little bit further. I think like I said, I think I had like the 5th or 6th LP, but yeah, I can't wait to get stuck in to these the first 3 Telephone albums from like the late 70s. Excited, really excited to check out Telephone. Now, when you think of Fountain of Youth Records, and when I think of Fountain of Youth Records, the only band that really springs to mind is Government Issue, and I love Government Issue. And I was flicking through the racks as we just saw, and this record sort of jumped out at me. I love the cover. It's this band, Madhouse. Anyone know this band? Kind of looks kind of gothic, kind of post-punkish, kind of death rock maybe. And yeah, and it just says Fountain of Youth Records, 1985. There's the band. I can't wait to check this out. I'm super excited. I mean, I'm assuming there's sort of some post-punk gothic death rock from the mid-80s, but I mean, I know. I mean, really excited to check this out. Yeah, Madhouse, Fountain of Youth Records, 1985. Just looks like a kind of mini LP, 6 tracks. Can't wait. The other day on the old podcast, actually last week I was talking about some brand new Australian punk. This band called The Unknowns. We were talking about that band and their new album, and I was kind of saying that some of their songs remind me of this old Australian band called Last Words, who I've only heard a track of like here and there. And right in front of me today, this happens a lot in Osaka. It's like you're looking for a record, someone's introduced you to a new band, and boom, like really quickly you can like find it, which is always amazing. But yeah, I'm talking about The Last Words, old like 77 to early 80s Australian punk band. This looks like a semi-discography record, like maybe the LP and then some singles tacked on at the end. I can't wait to listen to this because the songs that I have heard are really, I mean, Animal World was the single, right, from 77. This record's called Animal World, but like Animal World, but yeah, I think it's like a semi or a partial discography. Man, I couldn't believe this also when I saw it in the racks. Not a rare record, probably not an unusual record. I don't remember like seeing it before in Japan, but as soon as I saw it, I remembered their one hit single that they had in 1980 because it was on the radio all the time in the UK. And I kind of like that single. It's super memorable. The single I'm talking about is Echo Beach. Echo Beach can only be Martha and the Muffins. So, all these years later, we're in 2025. I've never heard another song by Martha and the Muffins except that song, Echo Beach. So I'm really curious, how this record sounds. Is it going to be just, a really like a one-hit wonder record? Kind of, I mean, they were a one-hit wonder, but I'm kind of thinking, how good is this record going to be? Is it going to be like a sort of new wave classic? Is this going to be like full of throwaway songs? I'm really excited to check out this Martha and the Muffins LP called Metro Music. I think this is a Canadian original. I think that's a came out on Virgin and Disc came out in 1980. Man, I haven't thought about Martha and the Muffins for a long time. Remember, like back about 10, 15 years ago, there was a big sort of anarcho, like post-punk boom. Especially like in Portland, PDX, there's a whole bunch of bands like The Estranged and Spectres and Bellicose Minds. This is a band that I kind of seen or heard about like in conversation when talking about those kind of bands, but I've never seen any of their records before. And boom, there was like two of their LPs, like right there in the racks, like 500 yen, like $5 each. Talking about Lost Tribe, very simple work. Man, there's 6 members in this band. I've never heard this band. I'm just assuming it's going to be some of that anarcho post-punk in the vein of like Estranged and Spectres, that kind of thing. Look at that. None More Black. Nice embossed jacket there. Lost Tribe. Yeah, pretty cool to find those two. It's funny when you find like a band that you haven't really heard, and like 2 of their records or 3 of their records are like right there, like sat next to each other. I mean, obviously someone else probably just like sold their collection, so they're just like sat right there next to each other. These were in the 77 punk section actually, but there you go. You got to dig for everything. I should have gone through the ska section too. You never know what's going to be in there, right? Going back to the podcast again, like a few weeks ago, I was talking about, it was Portland, a Portland band, Nick's Division, who are a contemporary kind of gothic band who I love, and I love their singer. And the sort of lazy comparisons that I've seen they're a kind of gothic post-punk band. They sound like Susie and the Banshees, and they don't really sound like Susie and the Banshees. In fact, to me, some of their songs reminded me of this band. And I already found this band's first LP about a month ago. And I just found like the first 12-inch and some other 12-inch singles today, which I'm chuffed to get. I'm talking about All About Eve. Any of you Brits remember All About Eve from the 80s? Like I call it like stadium goth. There's a bit of like psychedelia in here, but like there was such an amazing band, which of course I didn't like at all, like back then. But listening to them back now, that first album, just like amazing songs that we were sort of lucky to have in the mainstream, really. So this is like the first 12-inch EP, Wild Hearted Woman, 12-inch EP, 3 tracks, and then In the Clouds, which I think is an earlier version than the version that's on the first LP. Julianne Reagan, I'm telling you, she's got one of the best voices of all time. Sometimes they get a little bit AOR, like even on that first album, there's some ballads and stuff, but man, she's such an amazing singer. They're such a great band to listen to, so it's nice to get these 12-inch singles. Old Canadian punk, had some old Australian punk, some French stuff. I was excited to pick this up. This is out on my old mate Craig from Schizophrenic Records. This is a kind of unreleased studio and demo recordings of the Young Lions from Toronto, 1980 to 1982. Not one of the most well-known Toronto bands of the era. Man, they were on that comp, right? Something to Believe In. They had a song on that, which I remember, like I really remember like liking that song back in the day. I've still got that comp, of course, but it's good to see these sort of old bands, these more sort of obscure bands being documented by labels like Schizophrenic and this and the other. So yeah, the Young Lions, German punk. Now I know that this band's like first LP is kind of considered one of the German punk classics. I actually didn't know they had a second LP, and I do now because it was staring me in the face. Beton Combo. Has anyone heard this? How does it match up to the first LP? I'm forgetting the name of the first LP off the top of my head, but I know that's considered a sort of a German punk classic. This one's called Thanks. I don't think it's ever been repressed, so this must be a German original. Uh, yeah, 23 Skidoo, 1984. Wow, it's still pretty early, right? So I wonder, like, sort of what direction they were going in 1984. This is more of a contemporary band. Again, I've not really been able to find their records too easily, although I know Punk and Destroy, one of our local punk shops. Kazu is a huge fan of this band, and he used to have all the stuff in stock, but I kind of slept on it, and now I'm kind of struggling to go back and find the records. And my friend Daniel, he said like the new 12-inch is one of his favorite records of the year. This is one of their older records, talking about Nuovo Testamento and New Earth. From what I gather, this band is kind of it's basically punks playing kind of Italo disco. And I've heard a track like here and there, but maybe 5 years ago, I wasn't ready for this music, but I'm ready for it now. So it's nice to sort of find this used in the wild today. Nuovo Testamento, New Earth on Avanti Records. Okay, next bunch is what I found in the Japanese punk used section. Kind of mostly post-punk and gothic, actually. But this is a good recommendation because you can find these records. Actually, these are upgrades. I had copies of these without the OBs, so I know these records. I'm talking about Oedipus, EDPS. This band is like X-Friction, who are one of the first like Japanese punk bands from like 78, 79. This is kind of an ex-member of Fraction and Fraction. And, it's real like herky, jerky, almost kind of funky post-punk. But man, I want to say this band is sort of underrated. And what I mean by that is like, you can still come to Japan and find these for cheap. This was 600 yen. And then this one was like 700 yen, like mint condition with the obi. But really nice, like angular post-punk, maybe influenced by Gang of Four a bit. But the songwriting is amazing. And they were on a major label, so I think they pressed a lot of them. But really great stuff. Oedipus, EDPS, early 80s Japanese post-punk. I don't know if any of you have seen the Women in Japanese Punk video I did, but I talked about this band and this woman in that video. It's G. Schmidt is the name of the band, and the vocalist is Shioko. This is a 12-inch EP of theirs that I've never owned, and I was stoked to find it there today in the bin. It's called Silage. Came out in like 1985. I love this band. Kind of, they're a gothic kind of post-punk band, but she's an amazing singer, really dark. Love G Schmidt. There's a couple more 12 inches that I need, and then I think I've got the whole discography of G Schmidt. And then this one, I couldn't believe it. I've never ever seen this record before. I've never heard of it. It looks beautiful. Look at this. It's a compilation album called Reflections from Excommunicated Monument. It's a 4-band compilation with G Schmidt, Automod, who one of the first like Japanese gothic bands. The singer Jine was in that band Axe Bomber with like Sakebi from Gizm and Pill from Lip Cream and Masami from Ghoul. The Sadie Sads, they're the only band on here that I haven't heard of. And Madame Edwarda, Madame Edwarda, like on City Rocker Records. They have an album out on City Rocker Records. But man, look at this. I'm really, really excited to have found this. I can't wait to listen to this. It's on Sound's marketing system, which I'm more familiar for as like reissuing like Black Sabbath records, like in the 80s and stuff. But the records always sound great. Man, so excited to find this. My last pick is kind of funny. It's a record that it has my name on the back of it, and because like I used to run the distribution for this Japanese label in England back in the 90s, and this record was one of the ones that we couldn't sell. It's just funny timing to find it. It's this record. The Fearless Vampire Killers and Scumbag, split LP on MCR, came out in like 90, I think. Um, yeah, it's like kind of Bad Brains influenced Japanese hardcore. I remember like not being able to sell this record and like nobody wanted to buy it. Like a kind of Bad Brains influenced album, like was super expensive. Um, but it's funny. It was funny timing to find this. This isn't a record that I'm ever thought about buying again, but I couldn't resist it just seeing it. And the timing is really funny because the bassist of this band, or one of the bands, Scumbag, is Takeshi, and Takeshi is the bass player of Rocking Sweden. And just this morning, Relapse Records announced that sort of they're reissuing a lot of or most of the Rocking Sweden back catalogue, and we've got a new Rocking Sweden full-length LP coming out as well in January. And man, like Rocking Sweden are all about about the weed and the weed references. They were doing it like back then in the 90s with this. Like, check out this cover art. But man, I haven't listened to either of these bands for so long, and I'm just wondering like how they're going to sound to me now, because they were not favorites of mine back in the day. Like I said, great timing. Just funny to see this like staring out at me from the racks. And another funny thing about this as well is that at this time it's come full circle, because MCR company, Kyoto-based label, I was doing the UK and European distribution, and Relapse Records were doing like the US distribution at that time. So everything's kind of come full circle in 2025. Here we are, and Relapse reissuing like Rocking Sweden. That's my last pick. That's what I got today. Isn't hunting for vinyl fun? I had a good time looking, messing about in the bins today, and yeah, I'm happy with my picks. And let me know about the Fastbacks and anything that I've missed out about any of these bands that I've talked about today. I've just got to announce this week's What You're Listening To. It's a very special show this week. It's a sad occasion, but it'll be a fun show. It's for Bill Chamberlain of The Pist and 100 other bands who sadly sort of passed away earlier this year. So it's going to be this Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Rachel, Al, Jim Martin, Eric Good are going to join me, and it's going to be totally dedicated to Bill Chamberlain. Bands Bill was in, bands Bill loved, bands that he introduced us to. It's all about Bill. This Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern, streaming live right here on the Analog Attack YouTube channel. So there we have it. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. I'll be back pretty soon with I think the next one we're probably going to do like top 15 Japanese hardcore punk albums of all time. So look out for that one. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Cheers.